You want me to move over?
Yeah, let's just move this. There we go. All right. Hi, everybody. Let everybody jump on here. My name is Lindsay and this is Jess. And if you have not been here before, then welcome and thanks for being here. We're here every Tuesday at 7:30 and we're answering questions that are sent in by you guys. And tonight's question is, can you tell me all about Romal Reins or Romal Reins and what they're used for, how to use them properly, how to attach them, what were all the other questions? How to keep my horse in between the reins. We're going to try to answer as many questions as we possibly can while we're live here. If you have a question as we're live, then you're welcome to drop it in the comment box and we'll try to get to it while we're live. If you're watching the replay and you leave a comment here, then we will try to get to it afterwards. But the best thing to do is always to make sure that you are signed up for our email list, and then you will get the replay delivered right to your email every Tuesday morning, as well as a heads up about what the next topic is. And then we invite you to respond to that email and let us know what you thought about the last topic, or a suggestion for another topic, or a question that you have about whatever it is that we're discussing that evening. And you can do that. You can sign up for our email list by hitting the sign up button on the cover page of our Facebook. You can hit the link in our bio if you're finding us on Instagram, or if you head over to our website, you can find it just about on every page. There's actually a pop-up that comes up, and if you sign up there, you will get all of these replays. The other thing that you can do if you have a question about something that you would really like our input on is you can go to our website, which is hayescofellperformancehorses.com, and if you go to the education tab, there's a bunch of freebies in there. If you have not accessed the freebies yet, you should do that. There's some instruction in there, some coaching videos, and there's also a transcription of each one of these Facebook Lives that we've done. So you can type into the search bar Romal Reins, or you can type into the search bar tips for shoeing, or whatever it is that you're looking for, and any time that we've talked about it in one of these lives will come up with the transcription, and you can take a quick peek and decide whether you want to skip ahead to that timestamp, whether you want to listen to it as an audio file while you're cleaning your stalls or walking your dog, or whether you want to actually sit down and watch the whole video. Okay, looks like we have some friends on here. We have Robin. Karen is watching from Muskoka. That's awesome. It must be beautiful. It's beautiful here today. Diane from North Bay. Awesome. Glenda, Chris, and Lori. Super. Oh, geez. There we go. Okay, so tonight we're talking about Romal Reins. And do you want to start? What were they originally designed for? What are they? Do you want to show them first? Show what they are in case anybody does not know what they are?
So Romal Reins compared to regular split reins. The reins on a Romal, the part that goes from your hand down to the bit is called the rein part. And then it has a connector, and then it has a Romal which leads down to the popper. It's a closed rein at the front, it's not split. They've gained popularity in the last 10-15 years, even up in the east. They're a very west coast tradition, vaquero tradition type reins, and they're meant, as we use them now, they're meant to keep horses a little straighter. They are meant to
straighter meaning what? What does that mean?
I guess the benefits, I guess we should just say that one, is you can't cheat with Romals the same way you can cheat with split reins. And we hear it all the time, people talking about, well, they don't like it because their hands stuck. But that's how you're supposed to show a horse. You leave your hand down and you go show it.
Okay, explain what cheating means, because somebody watching cheats and they don't even know that they cheat. What is cheating? What do you mean by
like
cheating?
Like crawling up one rein or the other.
Yeah.
You know, if your horse doesn't circle good one way, they want to shorten up that inside rein and think they're getting away with it by pulling them around. The Romals don't allow you to do that. You have to keep them straight in, or I shouldn't say you don't. You can cheat a little bit with Romals too, but it is much harder. Romals are anything that has a closed rein and then has a Romal with a popper at the end. Can be made out of...
Can you show the popper in case somebody doesn't know what that is? Or what's that's used for?
Popper is the end, has a little leather popper there. The idea of it is, instead of like spurring your horse to go forward or whatever, you can pop them, and you can use it as a, pop them on their butt and make that horse go a little bit. They're very vaquero tradition, very West Coast tradition. They can be made out of rawhide, leather, different types of rolled leather, braided leather, just anything. I've seen them made now where they're putting like yacht cord and different materials in them. I like the leather and the rawhide ones. I'm kind of traditional that way. I'm not much on the yacht cord ones, but lots of different materials, lots of different things with them.
When would you choose to use, or when would somebody watching choose to use that type of rein versus split reins? Is there an event that you would use them more for than others?
We have to use them in the cow horses.
Okay.
Cow horses and a shank, aged horses and a shank bit. A lot of people in the trail and stuff have definitely been utilizing them as a tool. I think they definitely, help steer a horse a little better, because you can't cheat. They have to learn to carry that bridle a little more upright and use their shoulders better. As a training tool at home, I use them to test out I've been riding a bunch of futurity horses in them lately, just to kind of see where they're at. See if without even knowing I'm doing it, am I helping them by kind of slipping a rein a little bit and kind of picking that rein up and whatnot. I'll put them in the 3-year-olds. I guess for the last month and a half I've been doing it every once in a while. I'll do it on show horses periodically, especially if I have a non-pro that's riding with me that wants to always be fidgeting and cheating, and there's only so many times we can tell somebody, hey, your right rein is lower than your left. You put them in Romals for a little while and they kind of get away from that cheating. I do it on some horses if maybe they want to bow in or bow out. They want to kind of push that shoulder to the outside. They want to, anything where you need to help them, you want to fix it, but I want to make sure that I have them truly fixed. I'm not just helping them do it. I want to let them know how to do it. I don't want to sit there and keep pulling that one rein and they just get used to that's how they go. By having them where they're closed and they're together, then it just forces you to realize what part's bowing out, and then you can work on that part. And I think that's a big thing to get them more broke in the bridle, more broke to go show, is when you can use split reins and Romals at different times, and the horses just get more broke because they have more education, they have more different ways of doing things. When we hold a split rein, we hold it one finger between the reins with our palm down, and the pull is just a little different. With the Romal reins, we hold it from the mouth to the bottom of our hand, and the pull is more up, and so they give that pull a little more. They come in to their chest a little more, so then I can work on their shoulders a little more.
So
I go to them anytime.
if somebody's watching and they're like, I think they look cool, I want to try them, when would you say, yeah, go ahead and try them, and when would you say, maybe not, that might not be the thing?
I wait until my horses are broke enough that I know I can change them one-handed. I can stop, I can turn. Not perfect, but I know they can do the maneuvers. I think that's a big thing. Once I'm one-handed, I don't really worry about it. I'll go Romals every once in a while. And I think it's like anything, there's not a perfect time, and they don't have to stay in them. Like if I'm in a set of Romals for, let's say, 3 days, and I just kind of feel that horse maybe taking his chin and pushing it out a little bit, I might go back to split reins and, you know, push him around. I think with any of the training tools and schooling tools that we have, putting them in there for a few days, taking them out, putting them back in there is so important to get them broke for the job we want to do. You know, I see lots of people showing at horse shows that, you know, stay in the Romals maybe too long, or in the split reins too long, and you see where there could be a benefit, but they want to stay with it because they just think they have to.
So what does that look like if somebody's been in split reins too long, or if they've been in Romal reins too long?
For me, if they're in split reins too long, they're cheating. The horses may be leaning, the horses may be pushing out, pushing here, pushing there.
And they're just going ahead and shortening up the inside rein, so every time they lift,
yeah, and the person doesn't even realize that they're messing around with it. To me, that's a big red flag where I say, okay. And I'll do that quite often with people as they're showing, if they're just monkeying around with the reins too much. Even if they're not comfortable with it, I'll say, here, riding these, you're going to go showing these things. And they're so focused on holding something that's a different feel in a different style. And I don't think I've ever had a horse not come out of the pen and score better, not because the Romals fixed anything other than the rider didn't pick. So
Yeah.
that's when I really go to that.
We even talked about this a little bit last night with a couple ladies in my lesson, where we were talking about every time the one rider departed, the horse would actually take off in the wrong lead first and then change over to the correct lead. And you know, we kind of talked about it a bit and worked on it, and she wasn't quite at the point where she's doing stuff one-handed, but she went one-handed and did her departures one-handed, and her departures worked way better. She got the correct lead every time one-handed, not because one-handed fixed the problem, but because one-handed stopped her from pulling the one rein more than the other as she was departing. So
I think a lot of times
that's the
people
same
don't
kind
even
of thing.
realize how much they
How
do
much
that.
they do it. No, most people don't. And yeah, I mean, not just English riders, but English riders have a really hard time with it because they're so used to pulling back with one rein here. They don't even notice that they're doing it.
And I think for me, going from when somebody needs to get away from the Romals is if you're having a little trouble with timing and how to really keep that horse into the bridle. Let's say you're coming to your ends on a cow, you go to draw them back, and that horse is kind of leaning his chin just a little to the outside and not really drawing back and setting into that cow and coming through with them. To me, that's a good time to go back to the split reins, two hands, and kind of get that chin back in. You can do it one-handed, but it is a little more difficult. You know, you're concentrated on where's your legs, where's the horse's legs, where's the cow. There's just so much to think about. So there is a time when I say definitely come back from the Romals and you know, maybe bring that chin in just a little bit differently. To me, it's just a feel. I like to kind of, you know, I'll ride with something. It might be 3 days, might be 3 weeks, but and then I'll move something around, whether it be a bit, the different reins. One thing I like to do, especially before I go show, is I want to road that horse, split reins, Romals, leather Romals, rawhide Romals, all the different combinations of bits. And I want to figure out what really works for that horse, not just I like this bit, so he's going to figure it out. And I think that's really important. You know, the rawhide Romals, I have a couple pairs that are maybe just a little heavier than the leather ones. So if a horse needs just a little help guiding and needs to feel that there, I can do that. You know, it all goes.
So somebody is asking, I think it's Val, are the Romal Reins a higher degree of difficulty, and would you score higher points using them in the show pen?
No, I don't think either one's a higher degree of difficulty. When I made the comment about when I put people in them and they score higher. That had nothing to do with the degree of difficulty. That had to do with solving the problem of somebody fidgeting and pulling one rein tighter than the other. From the judge's point of view, if you show that horse well, you show that horse, it doesn't matter what tack you have on. Another horse trainer who does the cow horse more, we were having a discussion over some of the rules, and definitely before you go show, know the rules. Certain things you can't do, like in split reins, everybody kind of knows you can't double grab and move your reins. In the Romals, you can't pull your tail, you can't pull that Romal to shorten the rein up. And in the NRCHA, they've been letting everybody away with that a lot. This young fella came to the NRHA show and he pulled that thing, and the NRHA judge said, that's against the rules, you're out. You're just, and he donated his entry fee that day. It's not that it's a higher degree of difficulty, you just have to know the rules and know how they apply for it, and know the rules of how that piece of equipment works.
Yeah, so what's the reason why you can't adjust like that?
It's the same as adjusting your reins two-handed. You're double grabbing, you've changed how you're riding. Cow horses and cutters, there's a few rules, and it's not right, it's just the way it is. They've kind of let it away with it. Everybody kind of does it a little bit and nobody calls them on it. And then when somebody does get called, everybody, well, I've been doing that for years, but it's in the rule book. Things in Romal reins, you have to have a bubble in between when you hold them, you hold the rein part, which is the double part, and it's closed-handed. You cannot be riding, we see this a lot where people will be riding around and they kind of play with their fingers. Now all of a sudden they're disqualified because that's splitting the reins. You have to have a bubble in between your reins as you're showing. As soon as you pull like this, now you've adjusted your rein, and that's a disqualification. The degree of difficulty is no different. The look is something, there's show horses.
The look is something?
Well, the look is something to consider.
Yeah.
In that if you have a horse that's maybe just already a little naturally bridled up, and certain horses just look good in them, not because you think they look cool, but go with what the horse looks good in. Have somebody watch it. Years ago I showed an old Reminick horse, and we showed Romals quite a bit. He just had the right look. He was very bridled up. He was very naturally collected, so he looked good in them. You take some of them kind of pushy out there, kind of chinned horses, let's say the gunners, and not to stereotype, but like some of the gunners and stuff. Those horses aren't going to look right in the Romals. Those look better in split reins. The reiners traditionally will stick with the split reins because it's supposed to be a little more loose reined event. With the Romals, you're supposed to have light contact with them, but that's not to say a lot of nice reiners do get shown in them, and it works.
Pawnee won the futurity on one.
Pawnee won the futurity, and I remember everybody, whenever there's something that's different, everybody kind of talks about it for a while. Sean with a Hackamore horse this week.
That's right, yeah.
At the Derby, everybody on all the experts on Facebook talking about, I can't believe he can do that. But I mean, it's in the rules, it's been there all along, it's never changed. You're allowed to do that. But know the rules before you show too. Like if you go, well, like Sean, you have to ride in a Basel with split reins. You have to use leather reins, or a set of Romals. You can't use a Makati, and for some, for whatever reason, that's just the rules. If you go cow horse, you have to use Romals, and you have to use, roller bits and straight bars and whatever. AQHA has the most leniency on it, but you gotta know the rules before you use any of those different equipment.
Lacey's asking, for those of us that don't have Romal reins, would changing the way you hold your split reins, similar to how you would with the Romals, have a similar impact?
Yeah. At home, I use a lot of just leather Romal Reins, which are a rolled leather.
Yeah, I actually have a pair right here.
It is, you can use your regular split reins and hold them in that different position where the bottom of your hand is down. The downside though is it's very easy in split reins to cheat and put one shorter than the other, and then you've defeated your purpose of keeping them straight. You know, kind of a fad 10 years ago-ish or so is everybody would hold them that way, hold them horses into their withers and kind of get them to break at the pole. But there was still a lot of people with their horses head cocked way to the inside. So it really defeated the purpose of that Romal rein. But you can do it. I mean, you can. There's,
Like
yeah, and for
says,
kids,
love them for the
you know,
kids.
they're great.
Yeah. How do you know which reins to buy? Strands, button pattern, length? Don't buy cheap reins. I'm just waiting for it.
Well, you know what I'm going to say. Just go ahead.
Well, I just did.
I think trial and error. If you have like you can get different lengths in the rein part of it. So if you have, you know, if you're showing a great big, you know, 16 hand plus, a little more rein length. If you have a little short necked, you know, like some of the highbrow cats or something where they don't have much of a neck and they're kind of backed off, well then you're going to need a little shorter ones. I have multiple different lengths, multiple different strands. I do like, I know my wife's going to find this hard to believe, I do like good equipment. Doesn't have to be super expensive. I mean, I have a couple pairs of Romals that are a little pricey. But I think the biggest thing before you go throw your credit card down is ride in some of different strands, different button patterns, different weights, and different materials. You know, there's a lot of benefits too of just the rolled leather ones that we use all the time. They're a lot cheaper too, especially if you lend them, you know, you give them to some kid to ride around or somebody and they don't pay attention and they let the thing fall on the ground and they break. You know, you just about cry when it's a set of really expensive reins. You know, and they do the job. That, you know, they're not perfect. They don't have maybe as much weight, but I like them for every day because I know where they're going to be, and they're easier to maintain. My good Romals are never left on bridles. They're always hung straight up on a hook. I condition them. There's Rawhide creams.
How much money do you have to pay to get a decent set?
I think you can find decent ones at that like 300 US mark. And that, you know, I know that's like for Rawhide ones, and
yeah,
a good set. Yeah, it is. They're, but they're well worth the.
Do they last forever?
They're like everything. They're still gonna break if you do something stupid with them. They last a very long time. They taken care of. You know, when you buy those ones, you obviously take good care of them too. And I think that's the benefit of leather is that they're reasonably priced. You know, just right around $100 or a good pair.
And you can ride in these every day, and then just ride in your good ones,
right?
Periodically. Yeah.
I like about them 16. Like I have some 16 strand ones. I have some that are a little a little finer. The finer the strands, they are going to be more money. But I also have a pair that are.
Can you show the finer strand ones? You have a comparison there you can hold up and show people. I know for sure there's a couple people watching that don't know what you're talking about.
Will it show up?
Yeah, that's
So
good.
that one's way coarser. There's fewer strands to come in. And that one is a finer braid. And the hardest part, like to know which ones to buy, is I like ones that are maybe just a little bit heavier. And I have some lighter ones in case horses like that. And I'm, you know, you really have to play around with what your horse likes. So there's lots of our customers that before they go, you know, throwing a credit card down, you know, I don't let them take them home and do much with them, but they can ride with them here. Biggest thing with Romals to maintain them is don't leave them on your bridles, twisted and, you know, just on a hook.
Can you show how to hang them properly?
So in between the rein and the Romal and the popper, I put this right on a hook. And then everything is just straight up and down from there. They always lay perfectly flat. I'm real big on keep them out of the dirt. Don't let dirt get in there. That kills rawhide pretty hard. A couple times a year I'll put rawhide cream on them.
You're very fussy about how they get put on and how they get turned or bent or
right.
whatever
And that's
when you
another
put
one. I
them
don't
on.
put them on. I put the bridle on the horse, then I put the reins on so that everything's as, you know, flat and straight. As for the leather ones, I'll leave those ones on. I still try to put them straight on when I put them on the hook, but it's so important to take care of them. They are expensive, but the other thing that happens so well with Romal Reins is the resale value on them is great. You know, if you take care of them, you know, if you have them 5-10 years, you know, they've kept their value. It's a great piece of equipment.
I saw on there Kim asked if we sell them on our shop. We do sell the leather ones. We do have some of these leather ones, and they're actually right now, if you're watching live, the reins are actually not live on the website right now. I still need to add them. I only have a couple pairs. So if you are interested in a pair and you get onto our website and you see that they're sold out, just shoot me a message and let me know that you're interested in a pre-order for the next one. We will have some more coming in, but as you probably know by now, everything is delayed. So it's, 10 weeks from our leather people. So we will have some more coming in, but if you're interested, let me know and I'll make sure we get some ordered for you. And these ones, last time we ordered them, the cost on these ones on the shop is $90. Next time, I don't know what it'll be. I would imagine it'll be somewhere close to that, but I don't know what it'll be yet. So considerably less than
Good rawhide ones.
good rawhide ones, yeah, and enough that you know, you could add them into your collection, pull them out every once in a while to try. Definitely, I think a good investment.
The other thing that I think is worth saying with Romal Reins, everybody has their own beliefs on how to put them on. I don't like snaps. I know lots of people do. I don't like how they bounce on them. You know, they put a little snap on there so it's easier to connect to the bit. I either want leather connectors or rawhide. I don't like a lot of weight to them.
So these ones are just regular leather. Do you want to show the ones that you have on those?
So on the rawhide ones, this will just come around the bit right here. You just slide that little button right through, and it doesn't seem like a lot holding them on, but I mean, they never come off, and they just don't have a big bouncy feel to it. And even regular leather reins, I don't like snaps on them. I don't like that feeling of that jittery feeling on them. And as I say that, there are
To the point where anytime we have a clinic and somebody comes in, like the first thing that he does is look around to see what everybody's riding in, and if anybody's riding in snaps, he just changes the bridle.
And what's wrong with that?
You do. No, nothing's wrong with it. I think
And you
you're
don't have
right.
to look
It's
around,
just
you
you're,
just
you're
listen.
very snotty about it.
What I like.
Shelly says, I just love them after trying them this past weekend. I kept my hands still. Body position was straighter. I fussed less with my hands, which my horse really liked. Yeah, that's a neat thing about body position. That's another thing we talked about last night, actually, when I was teaching, was how the way you have to hold your reins when you're holding them forces you to keep, as opposed to if you're one-handed with split reins, where you can get riding like this and your chest opens to the right always if you're riding with your left hand. When you're riding with Romal reins, you have to keep your shoulders even, because your hands have to stay up closer together.
Lots of people get splitting, but it's harder to do.
They will, but it's harder. You can get down here, but it's easier to keep your shoulders actually squared up there.
I think they're a wonderful piece of equipment to not, like, I think as soon as somebody says I only ride in them, that isn't going to work.
I only ride them.
Yeah, like I only ride in one kind of reins. I don't like this, I don't like that. I think they're such a wonderful tool as something to rotate through in the tack. You know, I think they're very valuable. And you can get like different colors, different types of leather, rawhides, all that kind of stuff. You know, like maybe some black horses and bays and stuff in the reining. We kind of like to not have the more really whitish colored rawhide. You know, you can get the chocolates and the different colors, so you can really personalize them really well. And I think that's another part that's kind of fun for a lot of people, is, you know, just the shopping for them is kind of neat.
Yeah, there's lots of cool designs and stuff that look neat.
The button patterns, you definitely have to just play with it to see what kind of weights you want and where you want it at on your horse.
So what are the button patterns? Explain that or show that.
So when that ties into the bit there, all this extra braiding here gives a little weight. All these knotting up through here. And it just gives a little more weight. And some horses like weight, some do not. And I think so much of that, like when I look at a horse, I always think, oh, I know exactly what that horse, you know, that horse isn't going to like weight, or that horse is going to like a lot of weight. And there's a lot of times, you know, the horse doesn't read the rule book. You got to try it. And I think that's a good reason also when you go ride at somebody that has a few sets, is try the different pairs and figure out what your horse likes and what you like. Instead of just buying, you know, the prettiest pair on the internet. I know when I go to Caitlin's down in Texas, one of the places I go to always has, you know, a fair number of pairs. I've picked numerous pairs up for people in the past. Actually, this pair here was from there. And there's just so many options that you really have to kind of know your horses. And that's why I'm so big on people need to try them before, because they're not cheap. They're definitely not the cheapest piece of equipment. One horse show we were at there a couple of weeks ago, one of the ladies had kind of a neat little silver bit of mine on there and a pretty nice set of Romal Reins. And I just remember as she was loping by and she had the Romal dragging a little bit, she didn't have it in her hand. I'm thinking, if that thing steps on there, there was enough money sitting there. I'm not going to lie. I mean, as somebody who's really cheap, you know, you can spend some money. So know what you want before you buy them. Try a bunch of different pairs, experiment with them, and then go buy something, you know, and then go purchase some. But they're just a really neat tool to ride. When did you ride your first pair?
I think it was on Roscoe, wasn't it?
Oh, really? Western Riding?
I don't know.
And that's an event that really has taken off with Romals too, is the Western Riding, just because you got to keep them shoulders square and do a lot of steering. You know, I think that's another good event, the Western Riding, the trail. Of course, the reiners and the cow horses and the ranch riders, you know, those always are big. But and I know lots of trail riders that really like them, just because, you know, they're not moving them split reins down all the time.
What was the first time you rode them?
There was a pair when I was like 18 years old. The farm I was working at overseas had one cow horse bit, one cow horse bit, that's it, with a set of Romals on it. And I remember trying to ride in them before anybody showed me how.
How to hold them or set them
Oh,
up?
I mean, you know, you kind of look at the pictures and go, oh, I can hold them like this, but I didn't know how to ride in them, how to keep my hand, have some motion in it, you know, like how they were supposed to be manipulated and stuff. I just went and rode with them, you know. I seen it in the Western Horseman. I was going to ride in them.
Yeah.
And there was a gentleman, Tim Curtis was his name, and I remember he come over the one time.
If you're watching, Tim.
Oh, I doubt he is, but he was just a neat guy.
Yeah.
And I think he, you know, he came over. I remember one time to ride horses for my boss, just to kind of see what, you know, was going to the Derby and stuff. And I remember putting the bridle on the thing, on the horse. And I remember, I swear he was just shaking his head because of the way I was doing it. And he kind of gave me a 2-second, like, try this, try that. And I just remember thinking, well, that just changes this whole deal on how the horse steers. It was just one of those really cool, you know, you just,
Yeah.
but it was just funny because I didn't know what to do with it.
I remember riding in them for the first time and being like, oh, they actually feel the difference. And this sounds so silly, but like they actually feel the difference in the reins themselves, like just the weight of the reins and moving your hand across. It just, you know, for some horses, they like that. They like it has more structure, right? The Rawhide has more structure.
Communication. Too.
Yeah, it's just so you don't have to do as much with their mouth. You just move your hand across, and they just stay in between those pieces of Rawhide. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, we better finish up here. Thanks for being here with us tonight, you guys. If anybody has any more questions, we'll try to get to them after the fact. So good to see so many of you guys. So we are not going to be on next week. I am going to put the schedule up for when we will be back, but we are not going to be here next week. We're going to take a couple weeks off for the summertime, and then I will let you know when our next one is so that you can jump on live and join us for that. If you're missing us between now and the next time, you can go onto the education page on our website and check out one of our past lives, or you can just respond to one of our emails and let us know what you want us to talk about next time we go on.
Why do you think somebody misses your voice that much?
I think you heard today that somebody is going to miss your voice in our banter.
Maybe, I don't think it was my voice. I think it was your voice.
Oh, okay.
I don't think anybody misses my voice.
Shout out to Anne. Okay, thanks for being here with us, you guys. And like I said, I will get what I do have of these added to the shop so that you can purchase them. And if you miss out on that opportunity, then shoot me a message and I'll make sure that you get on the pre-order list. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Have a good night.